Have you ever known what your heart wanted and ignored it anyway because the timing wasn't right? Because someone needed you? Because it wasn't practical? Because you were afraid of disappointing people? I have, for years. I don't know if you believe in signs from the universe, but when I finally gave myself permission to want something for myself, it felt like the universe had been waiting for me to catch up. And for once, I'm actually listening.
Well, good morning. Yes, good morning and welcome to another chapter of When the Universe Speaks with me, MzKimElaine, aka Miss Devious, aka Miss Devious Gaming. I'm glad you're here. Glad you made it. It is Thursday. I am going to the gym. First time since being back in Virginia. The first 2 days, the first 2 days that I was here, I had to 3 days. I had to reacclimate to being here because I had this weird I don't know if it was the altitude thing or what, but I would get a little bit lightheaded. So it used to happen to me a lot in Vegas, but I would get up too fast and things like that, and I'd feel a little bit woozy. So I didn't want to go to the gym and push myself or anything like that. So I just waited until I felt more normal. I've been talking to a friend lately, just a friend, and he's been going through a hard time with life in general. And I asked him yesterday, said, when was the last time you felt truly? And he said, about 7 to 8 years ago. And I said, what was that? And I was like, was that prior to active duty and all that? And he said, kind of beginning of that, beginning of active duty. And I said, okay. So kind of to me, it sounded like he felt lost, he didn't know his way, things like that. And I told him about the podcast. I don't know if anything that I've ever said will help him, with life. But I do know that in my own personal experience, I'm not a therapist, I'm not anything licensed or anything like that in that manner. I know that I have learned things the hard way. And when I finally, you guys have watched the first episode, when I finally made the decision to be nah, this is what I want for me, that's when really life started changing. And it's hard for us to get out of that mindset, right? It's hard for us to get out of the mindset of, well, I don't deserve the things like that. I don't deserve the good things in life and stuff like that. When in reality, we do. It's just that somewhere down the line, earlier in life, we were told that our needs were not important in some shape or form, right? I was never physically or, directly told, because, we're not direct. Our parents, I think they call it first generation American. Anyways, so my family, we didn't really ever talk about things, right? We never really talked about what it is to feel feelings, what it is to expect things of your children or anything like that. We just never really talked about it. So, not directly at least. So when I was younger, I am between my full blood brother and I'm the youngest, and I'm the only female. And he's the oldest. He's the oldest boy. Um, and I feel like in Filipino slash Asian cultures, I was gonna say I'm Asian, probably I'm Asian. Yeah. Um. Anyways, it threw me off a little bit. I was like, so we as females and older females, there's a lot of pressure put on us to be perfect and to be the caretaker of our siblings, that kind of stuff, because parents work and things like that. So I don't know where I learned it from. I don't, because I feel like my cousins weren't like that. Like, not my cousins, but my mom's cousins, because she doesn't have any kids. I mean, not kids. She doesn't have any like siblings that have children. So I don't really have cousins on her side. I have cousins on my papa's side. And because he has a lot of siblings. And they had kids. So I don't know where this expectation came from, but I did learn early on in life that the things that I needed would always be put on the back burner. I learned not to ask for things because I didn't want to be an inconvenience. And I've talked about this before on another chapter, talking about how I want to take up the least amount of space as possible. And adult me, is trying to break that cycle of not taking up space, because I exist. You exist. We should take up some space, right? And when I was in Colorado this last time, I came back and Katie picked me up from the airport. Thank you, Katie, for volunteering yourself to pick me up from the airport, even though it was kind of late at night. So she told me that they took out her desk from the room that I'm staying in, and I was like, what? I was like, thank you, I really appreciate that. I was like, you didn't have to do that. She doesn't use her desk all the time. One of the things I am making space for is like her crafting area. Like, she has a crafting table, she has like all her like Cricut stuff, and all the supplies for that. So I'm trying to put them all together in the room, so that if she does choose time to do her crafting, she has an area to do it, and my shit's not everywhere in her way. So like, I am trying to make it so that I am not feeling like I'm an inconvenience. And for a long time, even though I felt like I was the one making life easier for my parents because I helped them take care of my siblings when we were all younger, I feel like I had to shrink myself. I had to shrink my needs. And I think some of my siblings may feel the same kind of way. It's different than the way I feel, but I feel like some of them do, because like our dental health was not the greatest. And I feel like if this is part of the reason that some of my siblings were apprehensive about talking about their dental health, I am sorry. I had really bad dental stuff when I was younger. And I hated it because I felt like I was such an inconvenience to my dad, because he had to spend money on my dental stuff, because a lot of them were like emergencies. Like, I could not, I needed to go. We didn't go in for our annual dental checks and cleanings and all that stuff. We didn't do all that because there was never any time in the day, it felt like, and energy for things like that to have space. And so I learned how to, I guess I've done this for a long time, turn it down, turn myself down. You know what I mean? Like, I broke a tooth, this one, and then knocked this tooth out when I was like 13. And you can imagine being, sorry, can I get some vacated? You can imagine me being like a child, right? And like, being 13 and saying like, oh my gosh, I'm missing a major tooth in the front, right? And my other one's broken. I hated it. I'm stupid. I was playing at a pool, and I I ran in the pool. I was running because I was diving for the pool toys, and so I was like running from one end of the pool to the other while the kids like were throwing the stuff in. At least that's how I remember. And so I slipped, and instead of juking to the right, I juked to the left for whatever dumb reason, and my mouth hit the poles at the ladder side. So on the deep end. So I was like, oh my god, I'm never gonna smile again. Luckily for me, my siblings' babysitter is who took us camping, and they opened it up to all the siblings, so I went. Luckily, one of them knew to go and find the tooth that I knocked out, full on, the full tooth, the whole thing, the root and everything out. So he found the tooth, and he came back, and he was like, I found a tooth. And I was like, that looks like a piece of banana. I remember saying, it looks like a piece of banana. And yeah, so he found it, took me to Camp Pendleton Dental. They happened to be open, or maybe it was their ER or something. Something was open. And I'm trying to remember if I'm going the right way for my gym. That one. It's been a while. So I got it put back in. They put like a temporary fix. They put a nylon wire across my teeth, and they put some glue down. Not even like pretty or anything. It was ugly. And they were like, you're gonna have to go to a dentist to actually get this like set right. And I don't know if I actually did, or we waited a while. But eventually the bone held on to the tooth, instead of it like it ankylosed. Like it started becoming, the body was like, hey, it doesn't have the channel where the ligament is. It was the bone that was holding it instead, or something like that. So yeah, I was 13 at that time. And then I remember being maybe like 14, and then I had like a really bad tooth infection or something going on in my lower jaw, and I couldn't go to school. I already didn't go to school enough because I was taking care of my siblings, but I couldn't go to school because it hurt so bad. And so my dad, I remember like crying in my room, and then he takes me to like an emergency dentist. He finds one, and I know he had to put down a bunch of money because we had the TRICARE. I think at the time it was like Champus Dental or Delta, I don't know. Anyway, had something. And I'm really trying to remember how to get to my gym without GPS, I think. So yeah, I'm sure he had to spend some money because it was an emergency dental visit. They had to do a root canal. So like a lot of my shit has happened in my mouth, and a lot of the times I had to like turn myself down, minimize my needs, minimize my wants. My point of this was to say, don't let other people take priority over you. Because at some point, how are you supposed to give any more to another person if you aren't giving to yourself first? And not in Um, but yeah, if you're not providing the utmost care for yourself, how can you ever expect to give anything to somebody else? You can't. So it took me a long time to realize that. Hello? So I hope that by the time I post this, that my friend starts seeing the light. He went to a rave last weekend, and I felt inclined to check on him. He's a fellow veteran, right? I felt inclined to check on him, and so I texted him and I was like, "Hey man, how you doing? How's the night going?" And he said he was having a hard time, and it broke my heart. And I was like, "Call this guy. Like, I don't care. He's at a festival, whatever. But like, I'm gonna call him. Just be like, hey man." Because sometimes, and this is something that I learned from a lot of the other podcasts that I've watched in the past. Something about like 8 minutes of your time. Sometimes it helps. So like, even if we don't talk for very long, the point of the matter is that little bit of time can make a difference for someone, for anyone. So I called him and I was like, "Hey man, what's up?" And I was at Rooster's house. Rooster's sleeping. So I went into the office and I called my friend, and I just wanted to like check on him and make sure that he's okay, and that, you know, he had someone that he could talk to, even if he didn't want to talk. I don't know if we talked for 8 minutes. If we did talk for 8 minutes, great. I can check my call log, but I'm not going to do all that. But I feel like that's something that I would want, you know? And I do have like select few people that I know would do that. And so my family and I, we have a code word. Back in the day, our code word was a silly little thing that my cousin, my best friend, and I came up with because when we were younger, we found this word really funny, especially when we were drunk. I don't drink anymore. I was not an alcoholic, but you know, I've learned that I don't want to depend on substances to balance myself out or to deal with stuff. I feel like it doesn't really help you deal with stuff. I feel like it makes stuff worse. So here drives me crazy, especially on the side. It gets up off and stuff. Nonsense. Hi, hello, bird. Hello. Good morning. Yeah. Okay. Just a landing spot for this bird to get some bugs. It's like on my. It was on my side mirror. So, anyways, yeah, code words. Whenever I'm having a hard time, like mentally, whatever, all that stuff, my therapist back then was like, you need to come up with a code word with your safe people. So I came up with a code word with my husband. Now my code word is different. I've evolved. But if you don't have a code word with your people, your trusted group of people, and what I mean is like not just the yes men friends and the ones who are like the ones that encourage you to do the stupid shit, the people that you really can trust to just be there for you when you're having a hard time. Come up with a code word for them. You text that code word, they drop everything to call you, to pick up a call from you, to come see you physically, whatever the case may be, if they can come see you physically. Come up with a code word. And maybe that will help you in times where you're feeling like you're having a hard time. So I'm almost at the gym. I'm gonna have to cut this together because my alarm decided it wanted to cut off the video, which is stupid. Another reason I should get an action camera. Thinking about getting the Insta360 X5. Mostly because this microphone can integrate with that camera. In theory, it says it should. And we'll see if that is better for this content creation, because using my phone, now I'm learning with my alarm stuff, can be an inconvenience when it goes off. So moral of the story today is put yourself first. Come up with a code word with your safe people. I am at the gym. I don't know if the trainer is here because it's a different guy that I'm working with today. It's not the normal person because she is on vacation. Good for her. So yeah, come up with a code word, and I guess that is it for today. I'm gonna drink my whatever this is, this pre-workout, get into the gym, and then yeah, I'm gonna have to message Richard. I'm pretty sure he sent me a message and I have not read it yet. I had to get on the road and get to the gym, start this. But I do want to thank you guys for tuning in into this chapter of When the Universe Speaks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, and until the next chapter, are you willing to trust the signs?